So, how did sports cards ruin our lives? We can't afford to eat. We go to the store trying to get groceries, but I go into the sports cards aisle, and I buy a $40 blaster box, or I buy a $70 or $65 mega box, right? So instead of getting food, I'm getting sports cards. So that's why it ruined our life. But really, did it? Not really. Just being over dramatic. But it did build relationships, and it's a really cool thing to look at. We look at how it has been addictive, right? Sports cars going in to the store. I go into Walmart. I go into Target. I go into Barnes and Noble, right? With my kids. And we'll get into relationships in a second. But I go in there, and 100% of the time I go into the sports card aisle store and I check to see what they got. I may not get anything, right? But I go in there just to check to see what they got. Sometimes we even make trips by ourselves, or just for sports cards. I go into Target just for sports cards. I go into Walmart just for sports cards instead of groceries and things like that. So that's kind of how it ruined my life, but it really ruined our lives, but it really didn't. I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure that after COVID, things are changed now, right? And a lot of you that watch this channel and that are familiar with us, go to the Targets, go to the Walmarts, go in the Barnes and Nobles, go into Ace Hardwares, whoever it could be, right? And check just to see what they got. You might not get anything, but just to see what they got. We're on a couple of Facebook groups that people post all the time, and they take a picture of their Target or their Walmart in like Illinois or California or Texas, and it's cool to see what is being stocked all over the country, because back when we were kids, that wasn't possible. We didn't know what was being stocked. I don't even know if Walmart or Target had any of this stuff. So I don't even know if they had blaster boxes. I don't remember, because I collected till I was about 17 or 18, and then went to college and did all kinds of stuff, and then started getting back into collecting when my son was of age. So it really changed the hobby field a little bit, and how it changed from when I was a kid. And we'll get into relationships on how we're building relationships now. I always say that it ruined our life, but I'm being over dramatic again. It didn't really ruin our life, right? But we are taking time out now to go to these places that we necessarily didn't do before. It's very addictive. You go to the store, it's very addictive to open a blaster box. Like, who gets a blaster box and then holds on to it for a year and then sells it? Not many people, right? But you go to a blaster box, you want to open it up. You want to see in the Bowman 2024, do I have an Ellie De La Cruz autograph in there? It's worth like $3,000 or $4,000. Do I have a Wemby auto, in these basketball blaster boxes? Do I have a CJ Stroud? So things like that you try to get, and you want to try to do. The relationships are very important. Building relationships with kids are very important. My son didn't really get into sports cards until we started getting like hanger packs from like Wawa. And when we went to Wawa, we found autographs there. I'm like, what the heck? There's an autograph in these hanger packs? And he's like, wow, there's autographs in here. So let's go get more. And that started when he was like maybe 5 or 6, and he's 12 now. And now he's really getting into like collecting and like organizing them and all, and trying to find these different things, and trying to find these different cards, and see if I can watch them on TV and things like that. So we're building relationships as a father. I'm building relationships as a son to a father, or even as a father to a son, or a grandfather, or whatever it could be, right? And you could probably be doing the same thing as well. My daughter, who's 6, tries to get into sports cards, and she doesn't really understand the sports cards because she can't really read that well yet. But she wants to open packs, and she wants to make videos. And she's like, Daddy, can I make a video? And I'm like, yeah, sure, make a video. And we do like little, pack a day challenges, and she makes videos on our Instagram and TikTok. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok, shoot us a message on there saying that you saw this video on YouTube, and like and subscribe on there too. But she wants to make videos all the time too, which is really cool. And we always go to the stores with my son and my daughter, and we're like, 100% of the time we go into the actual Walmart or Target and check out what they got. And sometimes we just make we just go to these different places just to see what they got at these different Targets and Super Walmarts, and make sure they don't have anything good. If they got something good, we might get it. So I think I've created little monsters, right? Because they want to do this stuff all the time. They want to go to the stores all the time and find this stuff. But it's a really cool relationship building that we've been doing over the past 2 or 3 or 4 years that maybe you necessarily don't get. If your kids don't play sports, or if your kids, if you're not in the video games and they're in the video games, and you can't build relationships there, right? So sports cards might be a one that you want to do, and it's cool to see, and it's cool to go on as you get older and build those relationships. And then, when my son's 40 years old or over 40, he's going to look back and maybe do it with his kids and see like, oh man, I did it with my dad. Now I'm going to do it with you guys. And then, bring me in when I'm old and gray, and you guys might be in the same boat, and just see like, oh, I remember when I was 12 years old, I opened up that Ellie De La Cruz card. Cause I remember when I was 12 years old, I opened up, Bo Jackson's and Ken Griffey Jr.'s, and I was always shooting for like the Bo Jackson's and Ken Griffey Jr. cards, or Wayne Gretzky cards, Brett Hall, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. I was always hoping for those cards to open and get, and then I still have them to this day and save them to this day. And now he's understanding the money value, the monetary value. Okay, well, if I get a CJ Stroud, if I get like a green velocity from the NFL Octopacks from the CJ Stroud, it might be worth $200, right? Put it in my bank, and I can get more cards, or I can save it for a computer. And seeing the money aspect of that, so like cool things like that. Even though we're not really about the money, it's more about building relationships. But it is still cool to see and understand that monetary value. So, like I said before, I think I created little monsters because we're always going to the stores and looking for stuff, and we're looking online for stuff and sports cards. But they're understanding the relationships now, and it's cool to build and cool to see. And I think you guys are probably in the same boat as I am, and Johnny is, and even Scotty too with his dad. He does pack openings and building relationships with his dad. So it's a really cool thing because we're not going to be here forever. And looking back, and you want to make a mark on your life, and looking back, and you want to make a mark on your kids' lives. And I think it's a cool thing to do, and to collect, because they'll always be around, sports cards, and they're always worth some value if you get some good ones, and you can start showing them how to collect, how to organize things, and it's a good life lesson. So that's why we kind of want to make this video for you guys to build some relationships. And the main thing about it is like we want to build relationships with you guys too, and in the comments, like you guys, last couple of videos, a lot of you been like writing down a lot of stuff for us, like, oh, I remember when I did this when I was a kid, when I did this when I was a kid, and what I'm doing now. And that's an awesome thing. We read all those comments, and we like them, and we reply to them, and build relationships that way as well. Like we're in a lot of Facebook groups that we build relationships. People take pictures of things, and we comment on stuff. So it's a cool thing that we can do now that necessarily that I didn't get to do when I was a kid, because we didn't have really the internet back when I was 12 in like the early 90s. But kids do now, and the making the world smaller and a better place, and you can communicate with people from around the world and see what they got or what they're stocking. It's a cool thing. So that's why we're gonna make this video for you guys, just to get it out there, and hopefully you guys enjoy our stuff. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Check out our other videos that we made, that Johnny just made, about being over 40 and collecting. And we made other videos about the NFL optics and how they're so hard to get and things like that. So, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep commenting on our stuff. We'll reply to you guys and build relationships that way. And, keep searching out there for those NFL optics because they're hard to get, and keep building that relationship with your kids. Or if you're a kid watching this, build relationships with your parents, and ask your parents, Nick, I go to the store and get a blaster box. We can open up and see what we get. So it's a cool thing. Not many people have that. Okay, so keep on watching, liking, subscribing, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.